Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and we're going to do some more car crash safety testing. So for this video, we're going to do the small overlap frontal test, which is a real test done by the IIHS, or the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. So what is the small overlap frontal test? It's quite a new test that the IIHS recently started doing. I think they started in August of 2012. And what the test does is they take a car at 40 miles per hour, and they crash into a wall that is 25% of the width of the vehicle. So I'm going to do my very best to duplicate those tests. So what is that going to look like? What I have here is a quick modification to grid map that will hopefully allow me to do the best to duplicate how they do it. So I have a wall that is a rough estimate about the averages of a quarter of the width of a vehicle. You see, that's about a quarter right there on this vehicle, and vehicles don't vary that much in width. So it's about a quarter of the width of a vehicle. And we're going to crash into it just like that at 40 miles per hour by riding along this wall. It'll allow us to almost have like a sled, like the IIHS uses, that allows them to kind of keep the car in a straight line. Well, I don't know if they actually use a sled, but it gives us like a sled. Because in BeamNG.drive, there's no real easy way to keep a car going straight aside from kind of scraping along a wall, because they just refuse to drive perfectly straight. Watch. Even if you spawn a vehicle up, and then just if you hit the accelerator too hard, it refuses to drive perfectly straight. So here's an example. We're going to just spawn the truck right here on perfectly level ground. So it should go perfectly in line with the grid. I'm not churning it all in any way whatsoever. And you can see it is not going in line with the grid at all. And to prove that I'm not churning, we're going to use the interior view real quick too. See, the steering wheel is straight. Right, steering wheel is straight, steering wheel is straight. But we are not going in a straight line, as you see. So that is why we use like a makeshift sled kind of thing to do this. So that'll be the testing procedure. And the first car we are going to test is a 1949 Cadillac Series 62. So if anything should really get wrecked up really bad, this will be a good candidate for it. Now the one thing I am curious about is this thing has a huge front, which may make it a little bit better off in this test because it just has so much length there. So before we do this test, I want you to take note of the position of the steering wheel on the inside compared to the inside. Here real quickly we could make everything go away so you kind of see what does the inside look like beforehand. And then we'll see how it compares afterwards. So go ahead and fix the car up and let's get started. So we're going to back it up just a bit too, because this is a slow cruiser type of thing. It's not going to go very fast. We need to make sure we're able to get up to 40 miles per hour, which is again the speed that the IIHS uses. We're going to do our best to duplicate it. My goal is anything between 38 and 42 is a happy place for me. Because it's like I said, it's very difficult to be consistent without the fancy things that IIHS has. So we're just doing our best to duplicate it. So right here you see 39, 38, 37. That's close enough, right? No, it's not. We need to go a little bit faster. We need to go a little bit faster, just a smidge. That's why we're going to give up on that one. There we go, that's much better. 40, perfectly. Now we're scraping on the wall, which does reduce our speed a bit, but everything will be okay. We are going 40, this is a much better speed. It's a lot more difficult to actually do it this way than the full frontal head-on collision. So here we go. First crash. Just like that. Wow, look at the door, the angle it's flying off like that. That is scary. Alright, so that's at 100 times slower. We can go ahead and speed things up just a smidge to go to 8 times slower. Look at the flex on the roof, man. That's crazy. So again, like I said, I want you guys to tell me which ones you think are the safest and least safe, just like you did in the other video. And like I said, we're going to do it realistically here. So look at where the steering wheel is in comparison to where it was previously. It's pretty much in the same spot. So interestingly enough, because it had such a long, huge, gigantic front, it took most of the force of that collision, it seems like. I mean, the door did totally get just falling off, but it doesn't seem like anything is too bad. Like the inside, if you look at the inside, it mostly looks okay. It doesn't look like there's really any damage to the cabin or anything. So go ahead and break the doors off so we can see everything a little bit easier. And yeah, look, the cabin held up just because it has such a long front end, I think. So next up is where's my mouse cursor? Oh, there it is. Let's see. Oh, it's a 1987 VW Golf MK2. We're gonna use the turbo version because I can. And I did this test lineup assuming every car is going to be left-hand drive. I can't remember if there are any cars aside from, I think, some of those micro cars like the Kiwi or the Pigeon that are right-hand drive. I think they're all left-hand drive, so hopefully I don't have to worry about that. But if something happens, we'll figure it out when we need to. Alright, so for this test, this one's a bit faster. We're already way up to speed, so we got some wheel spin going on, so we gotta let the speed stabilize. Okay, I think that's actual speed now. So we're gonna need to hold the throttle just a bit more. Don't want the wheel spin to determine our speed. I know I should have had a airspeed speedometer, but too late now. So this one, you see, vehicle width does vary, and this one's gonna only hit it about, maybe 3/8 instead of 1/4. No, 1/8 instead of 1/4. Excuse me, I can't math good. Which I got 3 on my mind, and I'm like, something 3. Why did I think 3? I don't know. But there's that crash. See the door again just flying open. And well, let's take a look at the inside. So how's the outside look? It looks crumbled up, dude. The inside, it's from this camera angle, doesn't look too bad. Let's see here. It doesn't seem like there's anything that bad happening around here. Everything seems mostly safe. That's the problem. When you do 40 miles per hour, nothing seems as brutal, Everything seems pretty safe when you do it like that. So you got to really look at those small details. So like you see here, there is some deformation of the cabin right there. Where in the Cadillac, I don't know if I saw much of that. And the door is pushed back enough where you can see, look at the amount of space that is gone now. So you might have had something crushed in that amount of space. So we're going to go ahead and break the door off so you could actually see inside. And there we go. So inside, everything doesn't look too bad though. It's just a little bit of deformation on it, which is never a good thing. But that's it. So next up is the Porsche 911, which is not a great mod. It's a mod that has some problems, and the guy who made it took away the release because he wasn't happy with it. But I still have it from long ago, so we could use it anyways. But don't expect this thing to crash great, is what I'm saying. Alright, anything between 38 and 42, that's close enough. We're at 40 right now, so I'm happy. Full speed to get it up to the 40. Go! Alright, perfect. So again, the car width does vary. This one, it really is thin because it's a sports car. It's not as wide as the other cars. So you see the amount of overlap was, again, maybe like 1/6 on that one. Not as bad as the other one, but it wasn't great. So there we go. You got that front just totally ruined up. How's the door line up? Doesn't seem too off alignment. You see, there is some odd shapes with the roof line, maybe just a bit. Right there. Nothing too major. Go ahead and look on the inside. How do things look? I don't see anything crazy. How about the other side, outside? We take the doors off. Let's see here. Nothing terrible at all, I can tell. So, almost makes me want to up the speed just a smidge. But like I said, this one, we're copying the IIHS method. If you want to see me up the speed or something, feel free to request that. But like I said, for this one, I want to make it just like how they do in real life, just for fun. Because I think it'd be interesting, So next up is the Blista Compact, which is a car from Grand Theft Auto. And the reason I'm using the 4-wheel drive variants when available is just because it makes it less likely to have wheel spin usually, so the speedometer will be more accurate. So again, we're going to do the exact same test. So right at the right speed, right 40-ish, 42, a little fast, so slow up just a smidge. Alright, perfect, 40. And here we go. Gonna hit that wall. Perfect speed, perfect. Let up on the throttle. See what happens. Ooh, look at the flex right there in the roof. The roof line has a huge amount of flex, but it's actually, it's realigning itself. That's interesting. I didn't look at how much it flexed really on the other cars, but you see it almost realigns itself. It's going to speed things up a bit. You see there's a lot of jiggling as things try to realign itself. And the front ends absolutely look wrecked in these situations, but then the driver himself doesn't ever seem to be in too much harm. So if we try to look at the inside camera, it is nothing I can see that looks out of the ordinary aside from everything being broken up. The door actually stayed shut. Now that could be a good thing and a bad thing. If you're stuck in there, that's a bad thing. If it stayed on and it could open up, that's a good thing. Either way, I think they rate. I'm not 100% on this, but I think the IIHS rates things better if the door stays shut. I think it might be even better if it still opens, but I'm not positive about that. I didn't look it up that closely. So as you see, though, the roofline has been changed. So we're gonna go ahead and take the door off and see what it looks like in the inside. Ooh, the wheel is kind of getting into the cabin. That's interesting. It's definitely not a good thing. You know, you can get some wheel rubber burn or something like that from that. That's bad. I guess it's just the rubber of it. It's not anything else that's in there. Aside from that, I don't see nothing bad. They need like a flashlight, you know. What's the shadows look like? Because I can't see nothing. Just for curiosity's sake, the car will still accelerate. So, next up is to the TRD Toyota Celica. And we're going to use the Rally Edition as long as it doesn't have like a roll cage or something. I don't think it does. I think it just means more power. Yeah, interior looks stock, so as far as I know, that's just the right version I want. And here we go. Alright, slow down just quite a bit actually. Let's just let up on the throttle and brake just a tiny bit. 42, 40, that's a little fast. Let me do that again. You know, like I said, it's hard to be consistent, but make it where we can do the test as fast as possible. So if we have a bad test like that, we could line up the next one real fast. So there we go. That time I stayed off the throttle the whole time, so I didn't just come in too fast. Now we're going perfect 40-ish, 41. That's right. That's right where we want to be. That's great. Okay, so watching it in super slow mo. Let go of the throttle. Let's see what's happening. The door just like popped off, and oh, jeez. There's a lot of body movement there. That's a ton. The door actually fell off, though. That's a first as well. Wow. That's not looking good. Things just don't look good there. Let's go ahead and speed things up a bit. Let the crash. I think the crash is really done. So you see that everything's obliterated up there. It's just boom. And the inside, how's the inside look? Ooh, the chair's kind of warped up. That wouldn't happen in real life. The tires, again, just slightly in the inside of the car, just like it happened on the Blista, which is interesting. But look at the damage to the right up here and stuff. That's not good. Look, you also have some bending down here, so probably that means that the cabin has definitely been squished where you're at, based on that. Don't even need to break off the door, though, because it fell open. So, next up will be the Declass. Oh goodness, I forgot how to pronounce it. Okay, I went through all the trouble to remember how to pronounce it on the other video, and then I forgot. This is the car from Grand Theft Auto 5, which you never see really, except for like very specific missions. And we're gonna do it now. Do we have enough speed? I'm not aligned with the wall. That's like a medium overlap, not a small overlap. Slow it down just a bit. Too fast, too fast. Like I said, it's a little difficult, but when we get it right, it's worth it to get it perfect. Like that one was 42, which is close enough, but could have been closer. No, that was too slow. This car is weird. It doesn't seem to want to ride the wall. Like it wants to bounce off of it, which makes things a little difficult. And I don't know what exactly is causing it to do that, but it doesn't seem to want to ride along the wall like the other cars are. There we go. Now it's doing it properly. So we're going to need to slow it up a bunch. There we go. So the actual wheel speed is correct at 40 miles per hour, so it's pretty close. That's exactly what we want. So now we can just watch it. And, well, that one seems to have done very, very well, actually. And 8 times slower. So, yeah. Like, it doesn't seem like there's even damage to the doors. That thing held up. And it crumpled apart. That one, like, really held up, which is surprising. Why do I say that? It's like, it's not that it's a bad mod, it's just weird because if you break the doors off, it doesn't have any middle pillar, which is really, you know, it's one of those things where that's kind of weird. That'd probably be bad for the structure. And then my car has that too, so it's like, yeah, maybe it's not so bad. But, you know, I don't know if something like that would really, you know, technically that couldn't work. The door would need something to latch to, unless you got a suicide door like I have, where you got suicides in the back and then a normal in the front. But yeah, that one seemed great. Like, nothing got into the cabin at all. The cabin looks great. Let's see, from the driver's seat, it looks great. So that one did well. It took a lot of trouble to get it to it, but it worked well. Next up is the Ford Crown Victoria, which we will use the stock version of, because none of those sound like just more power. They all sound like they might tweak other areas of the car, so we're just going to use the stock one. Alright, so here we go. So we're cruising along right about the speed. We can let up the throttle just a bit. Oh, no, we can't. 39, that's a nice speed to be at, but we need a little more. Max power. Can we get up to about 40? Either way, that's good, that's good. We're right at 39, 40. Speed is good. Let's see what happens. Alright, so, watching it. It has a pretty long front, so that takes a lot of the force, but you see this thing is leaning down towards the crash site. That's interesting. It leaned in, and again, another one that looks like it did very well. It, like the whole side of the thing, you see the doors are just slightly ajar, so there is a small amount of damage, but for the most part, nothing bad. The dash did seem to explode a bit, but that's more of a graphical glitch than actual safety, you know? But that one seemed to hold up very well. Go ahead and take the doors off so we can look inside. And unfortunately, it's kind of hard to look, but I don't see anything abnormal aside from the dash. So that one did well again. Alright, next up is Grand Marshal, which is a stock car. Not enough speed at all. Let's see, can we get a slightly faster version maybe? V8 Sport should be good. Okay, we just barely got 40. I think that speedometer is accurate. I don't feel like there's much wheel spin, so it's just barely there at 40, 39. So it's right in there, right where we want to be. There are some missing textures. That's because other cars are sharing the textures probably. It happens. So now we're at 40, 41. We're right there where we want to be. Okay. So in a way, this is the same exact kind of body style and everything as the Crown Victoria we just crashed. Like, there's nothing about it that's really significantly different. They both are the same style of car, and you see, again, another car held up very, very well. The doors stayed, for the most part, shut. You see, there's a little bit of a jarness on this one. So, or is that even a word? A jarness? That sounds like a combination of the word ajar and jar and harness. It's just the weirdest word I've ever made up. I don't think it's a word. Anyways, let's see, the door has a little bit, but nothing too bad. No is what the dash says. I think the car's had enough of this. It's like, no, don't crash me again. Nothing too bad, though, where the driver would be, so it looks all good. Let's go ahead and take the doors off. Take a peek on the inside. Oh, the tire fell onto the inside, but that was not there previously. I guess I should hit break all hinges and not break all brake groups, huh? Oh, well. So it didn't seem like there was anything, though. Next is the Greenwood. This is a car from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, I think it was. And it's a great car if you're a pimp, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. Maybe. Oh, my goodness. $38, $39, $40, $41. Oh, goodness. This thing's speedometer's all over the place. Well, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with that speed. The speedometer was all over the place. I'm not sure if that speed was accurate or what. That's better. It's right where we want to be. 40, 41. Okay. Again, another four-door that just turned out to really hold up. I mean, look, again, same thing as the Grand Marshal and the Crown Victoria. Nothing looks bad from the outside. Inside, this is kind of a messy interior to try to look at, so we'll just skip that one. Take doors off, and wow, this has a lot of camera angles. I forgot about that. I don't see anything abnormal, and I just thought of another way I could have done this test that might have been a little bit better. So if I do this at a higher speed, I know a better way to do it now. But for this one, how many cars do we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, we got a bunch of cars left, so I'll finish it this way on this test, but I thought of a slightly better way we could do it on the next one. Oh, I don't have the stock of Bishu. Let me get the stock version installed real quick. Oh, that's gross. My microphone's all wet because I sneezed on it. Anyways, I restarted the game just because I was having some texture errors when I installed the Bishu, probably because I had to reinstall it after there was one in there, and I just like, oh, let's just restart the game. That'll fix everything up. And the map I had was saved, so I shouldn't lose anything. Like, there's no reason I should. And I know I'm kind of being boring on this video because it's like, I don't have a chance to talk about random crap. Like, right now I could talk about whatever I want, but like most of the time it's like, I gotta look at this and like there's something to say about what we just saw. And like, it's weird, you know? It's like, I feel like I'm not saying anything interesting because I'm like, or anything fun because I'm just talking about what we just saw, because it's just like, there's so many things you need to look at in a crash test. You gotta look at like every little detail, and I can't even see them all. I know. That's why I say you guys need to help me decide which ones are the best, because there's just so many things to look at. It's crazy. Anyways, next up is the Bishu Kovat, which I finally fixed up. Going a little fast, but we got a nice amount of room to let it kind of slow down a bit. 42, 40, 41, 40, 42, 40, 41, 41. It's about 40, 41. That's good. 42. It's in there. It's in the zone. It's a little fast, but it's in the zone. And, ooh, that's not good. That one, the door opened up. Like I said, that's a bad thing. I think the IIHS says. So I'm going to speed it up a bit. You see, there's definitely a deformation in the body again. See, now we're getting some crazy crashes. See, right here. Got some deformation right there. That's not good. How's the bottom look? That is definitely not straight anymore where it used to be straight, so that's not good. And you can see the door doesn't even line up anymore, so the passenger compartment has been made smaller. Break everything off. The tire is again in the car. Never a good sign. Not something that would exactly happen in real life. I don't think rubber could really easily penetrate the metal that would be there normally, but it's kind of funny, you know? So that one did not do well at all, unfortunately. And one thing I want to do real quick, I'm going to do some testing off camera real quick. I just want to do something real quick, and then we'll go to the Hyundai. Okay, I just want to tell you what I was testing. I wanted to make sure this car held up right. Like, it just seemed odd that one was so much more damaged than the other for only like a 2-mile-per-hour variance, which, like I said, was within testing variance reason. That car still held up. I just did another test on it a different way, make sure it wasn't that I was riding the wall and it was causing it. Now, anyways, on to the Hyundai. What Hyundai is it? I don't know. I honestly haven't even done a video for this one. But it's funnily enough, I think it's rear-wheel drive. I don't think Hyundai makes anything that's a rear-wheel drive four-door as far as I know. So it's not quite done. Way too fast, way too fast. Not even going to look at that. That's a bit better. Let up on the gas and let it coast. Tap the brakes just a couple of times. 40, 41. Beautiful, beautiful. Perfect speed. Here's the crash. Ooh, that's not good. The doors are all getting disfigured up and all kinds of disfigured. Oh, some bending in the body. I mean, the passenger's cabin right here. You can see it goes choom choom. All kinds of bad. Let's go and let the crash in. The crash ain't even quite over yet. Alright, now it's over. So you see that got deformed up. You know, you can tell the difference when you have this side where it's like that straight line and the other one just isn't anymore. That's like, yeah, that's definitely abnormal. The door did open up a bit, but it kind of held shut. You know, it's there. Let's go ahead and break the doors off so we can look inside. Well, we could try here. Can't see nothing. Oh, is this a right-hand drive? Is that why I couldn't see the steering wheel? The steering wheel disappeared or did it never have a steering wheel? I don't know which it is. Anyways, looks like nothing too... Oh, is that the tire poking through? That's the tire poking through. That's not a good sign. It doesn't seem too bad, though. Definitely not the best, but it's not the worst either. Next up is the Bruckell Moonhawk, which is a big old heavy thing. So we'll see how this one does. I think this thing's wide, so I don't even know if this one will properly small overlap. It might be a medium overlap just because it's so wide. Alright, 40 miles per hour. 40-ish. Uh-oh. I don't know how consistent, I don't know how correct that speed reading is, so we're going to do that one more time. Because when it's varying a lot, that means we're having some sort of wheel spin or something that's causing it to vary. You want it to be steady before you actually get there at about what you want. And then you let it coast in, so that way you know that the wheel speed reading is correct. Yeah, and that's why you tap the brakes too. It's just all in the effort to get the most reliable reading you can get. Now that one, even if I could, I could spin the wheels real hard right here and make it say, you know, probably 50, but it is 40-ish. So here we go. It's gonna crash right about here. Alright. Looks like the door is bending. Oh, the car is bending too. That doesn't seem like too bad though. I mean, the front end got absolutely ruined, but the door maybe bent outward a little bit. The bottom looks straight still. You know, usually usually unless they look crooked, I say something. I don't know why I bothered to say that, but doesn't seem like there's much deformation in the where the passengers would be. That's good, especially where the driver would be. Nothing seems too out of the ordinary. Go ahead and break the doors off. And yeah, big ol' American barge mobile would have held up decently. Looks like. Next up, we got the not D Series, not Pigeon, Impreza 22B. It would be a shame to wreck one of these because they're not very common cars. But it's a fake one, so it's okay. That's a bit too fast. So we're going to go ahead and redo that. Plus, I wasn't on the wall. It was a bad one to do. It was a bad one to use, I mean. You don't want to use a bad test. You want to use the good, consistent tests. Like this one. Nice, consistent 40 miles per hour the whole way. So you know that reading's good. 41 the whole way at least. You know, like I said, 38 to 42 is happy zone. I know it's like a huge difference, but I do my best to keep it as close as I can. Alright, so the front end is... looks like it took most of the crash. Going... yeah, that crash is over. What's the wheels doing in the back? They're all lifting. Alright, you see a little bit of bending right there with the place you would be. But this thing has a roll cage in it, so it's like a racing edition. So, I think that would probably have stiffened the body to some extent, because you can see, if you look on the inside, that the roll cage is going straight along that line. So if it didn't have that, it would probably be weaker. Can you remove it is what we gotta look into. But first, let's kind of look at what the roll cage version did. So yeah, you can see everything actually you need to from the outside. I love, oh my goodness, that's like the pop away door, like poof, door gone. Alright, so with the roll cage there, it's like nothing is a problem. Let's see, can you remove just the roll cage? I'm pretty sure you can't, but we're gonna check anyways. Not that I can see. Unless I'm really missing something obvious, no you cannot. It'd be a great feature, I would say, but it does not have it. Alright. Let's go on to the next one. Like I said, that one has an unfair advantage. I did keep the ones that are really obviously race cars out of this, like the ones that are real obvious race cars, because what I'm going to do for those is I'm going to do the same test but faster. Because they're race cars, they have to be made to go at faster speeds when they crash. And this one I might include in that test just because it has like a non-stock roll cage. And we'll do those tests eventually, you know? Just gotta get through the other tests first. Alright, so this one we're bouncing off the wall all over the place. That's ugly. We're not going to hit the target. We're going to miss. It's going to be terrible. Speedometer is very inaccurate right now. I don't know what my actual speed is. It's way too low. It's only like 33. So this car is being a bit of a pain to get lined up and stuff. Keeps wanting to spin its wheels when it shouldn't be. Ah, way too fast, way too fast. There we go. Tap the brakes a bit. That's about 40, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the speedometer's all over the place, but I'm pretty sure that's about 40. We could check it if we really wanted to, but I'm pretty sure it's about 40. It's like averaging 40, so I'm happy with that. It's like it averages out. I'm okay with that. Whoa, look at that wheel. Look at the fender around it. That was crazy. And you saw the place where the driver would be did deform a bit, but it kind of held itself back together, and I actually de-slowed that a little bit faster than I meant to. That was supposed to be 8 times, but it didn't seem like we missed much. Just bouncing backwards. So the door mostly held its spot. It's a little off place. Nothing too bad though. So go ahead and pop the door off. Let's see, boop. And the inside, everything looks happy. Don't see anything major bad about it. Here's a little bit of a graphical bug, it looks like, where the plastic's exploding just a smidge on the dashboard, but that's it. Next up, I could have used a slower bowler. That would have probably made it easier. Oopsie. It is the Vapid Cruiser. This is the police car from, it might have been multiple Grand Theft Autos, but it was at least the one from 4. I think. I can't remember for sure, though. So feel free to correct me on that. This one's nice and easy to get going. Going right at the 40, 41 mark, so we'll let up on the throttle. You see it's at 39 now, 38, so a little slow. Like I said, I did think of a slightly better way to do this test, but I wanted to keep it consistent throughout the video instead of changing the test halfway through. Because if the first ones were inaccurate, then they would be biased. So I just want to make them all inaccurate if they're inaccurate, you know? Then it's still a level playing field. That one had a good speed. I got the camera here a little bit late. I do apologize for that. But didn't seem like there was anything where the driver would be. Everything there is held up. It looks like it held up good. It held up great. So let's go ahead and break the doors off. How's it look? Good, good, good. So, you know, we got one more car here, and then we'll be done. So then I want to kind of talk about what I thought about this test, and I'll tell you what my ideas of change was. Because I have an idea that I think will make things a bit easier if we do it again at a higher speed. We'll talk about all that in a minute, so just hold on. Let's do this Opal Vectra. I think it's the Opal Vectra. Way too fast. Poor Vectra. We gotta test you again. See, if they actually tested the cars like this in real life, they would go through so many cars. You know, you call them up, hey, sorry, Toyota, but we went too fast in the crash. Can we get another car? What are you doing, transmission? That is, no. The speed was being all crazy. It was like downshift and then upshift, and it was like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why am I spawning so far to the right anyways? Make it easier so I don't have to try to churn and then churn back a line with my wall. You just kind of float into it, it makes it better. So I'm doing this one a little fast because the transmission seems to want to downshift at like 41, and then the downshift like lowers the speed to 38. So we gotta do it just a smidge fast. Definitely some lifting on the hood. The whole hood just made like a wave. It was like doing the wave, man. It's not good. But it seems like it brought itself back together. Little bit of bend right there. Door is possibly locked in where it wouldn't be able to come off if this was real life by this fender. Let's go ahead and take the, oops. Hopefully you didn't hear that. My phone just went off. Take the door off, though, and inside it looks decent. Looks decent enough. Alright, so now I want to talk about what I thought of this test. So the one thing is, at 40 miles per hour, nothing too like that'll kill you happens, you know? That kind of stuff happens at a bit higher speed. So, you know, if you were doing this test at like, say, 55 or something, you know, So we would do, let's say, we were doing the test at 55. What the heck? That says neutral, but that's not neutral. That's parking. Weird. Anyways, I was going to show you the other way, or what the test would look like if we did more better speed. So this one, well, let's take a car that actually stood up really well. So one that stood up really well would be the Grand Marshal. That one stood up great. So we're going to do the same thing with it, but we're going to do it harder. Unfortunately, that was not a small overlap test. See, this is why you needed the wall. It's hard to actually line this up. The other way I thought of doing it, though, is like this. Here, I'll show you what the other way I thought of it is. You just have a wall here. You freeze physics when you have the right speed. And then you just say, okay, go to the edit. I know it takes a second to transition to editor, so. But then you go to the editor and you just move the wall to line up with the car. Well, the car's going to be right here, so move the wall to there. And then like that. That's the other idea I had. Might have been a little bit easier. But then things might be a little more interesting. Oh, it didn't do 8 times slower in time. It did the slower afterwards. But like I said, things might have been a bit more interesting then, just because, And if you guys want to see it at a higher speed than they do in real life, I could do that as well. It's just a matter of if you guys would want to see that or not. I think I would do something about 60 miles per hour or so. I don't know. Just guessing. I would have to do some testing to figure out exactly what speed I would do, but I could definitely do one that's faster. And I'm not sure if I would do the medium overlap or not, or if I should just go to a just straight-on head-on collision. It's up to you guys if you'd want to see the I don't think I will, actually. No, I'm just going to say I don't think I will. I think we would just do a straight-on head-on collision as well, if you guys would want to see that, which, maybe we'll do it fast like we did for the trucks, or something like 60 miles per hour or something crazy, So it would be like, something like, oh, we missed, You know what I mean, though. We do it fast. But yeah, then I was just talking about things for the future. So, like I said, tell me what you guys would want to see in the future, and we can make it happen. So it's like a 60. Yeah, see, not much happens there. So that's why I say maybe we'll do it at like 70. 70 is just a good place where things happen. Yeah, the person's going to die from the G's, but it's cool to look at. Anyways, till next time, it's WhyBeAre. I'll see ya.